You're listening to the Living Mandala podcast. My name is Ara. And this super amazing series continues. I'm here with Nicole Cullum of Caravan. And today's color is the neutrals. Okay, so we're talking browns, we're talking beiges, grays, gray, and everything in between.
So neutrals is an entire family, but the color itself, I'm going to lean towards the warm browns as I talk about kind of a little history of the
Fair enough.
So, the earliest brown pigment that was used in by cave paintings by our prehistoric artist ancestors was umber, which is a reddish-brown natural pigment made from clay that contained iron and manganese oxide. So that umber dates back like 40,000 BC, which was much darker than its newer colors of sienna or ochre, those other earth pigments. So neutrals fall in the warm neutrals, which are like our tans, beiges, browns, and then our cool neutrals, which is our grays, our grays, our French grays.
Got it. Okay. And, neutrals are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Bark, plants, the earth itself, leather, animals,
our skin,
the woods. Every shade of skin color sort of falls in the neutrals. With very few exceptions, by the way. We are all some shade of light or dark neutral colors, right? And so, in terms of, the spiritual dimensions of neutrals, again, we don't have a brown chakra per se, but I would say that the color brown is often, a color of humility and of humbleness. When I think of spiritual dimensions of brown, I think of St. Francis. I think of, I think of peasants and simplicity.
Well, and why is that, right? So dyes, color in dye was very resource heavy. It was expensive to make, and it was gate kept. It was restricted to nobility and royalty and aristocracy. So or religion, right? So kind of religion had red, and nobility and royalty had the purples. They had the vibrant blues. They had the exotic greens, because it was incredibly hard to create a dye that stuck to clothes. And the poorer classes, they wanted these colors, but they couldn't afford the dyes. And so they'd get kind of close. But over time, all those vegetable dyes, which were cheaper to make, would fade over time and fall into the brown family or the gray family. And so you have the peasant class embody these kind of dirtier colors, right? And the Browns families kind of got associated with poverty. Think like brown bag lunch.
Right. Gunny sack dresses.
Right. So that the Brown family is interesting because, it is associated with earth, but it's also associated with stability and structure and support. It is the ground beneath us that supports us. So, it is a grounding color. You use brown or tans or neutrals in interior design because they flow effortlessly. They pair well with a myriad of other colors.
Right. Well, and, while you were talking, I was like, well, and like camouflage comes in two colors.
Totally.
It comes in the greens and it comes in the neutrals. Because, you're going to blend in with, a desert environment. I'm also thinking about all types of reptiles and things that do the chameleon behavior, and they change colors based on where they are. And a lot of them are in that brown, gray, neutral zone.
Well, and speaking to the camouflage aspect, this shows up in nature. So think about birds. Male birds are very colorful because they're trying to attract a mate.
Versus the female birds are all boring and brown.
Because they need to hide the babies. They need to be safe. They are camouflaged in with nature to protect the family. And there's a very interesting theory that in Navajo blankets, right? So the men wore these bold striped blankets, and they'd have touches of blue and they'd have touches of red bayeta in them. And that signified, that they were important people. You could see them from a distance as they approached you. Whereas the women wore these more muted colors. The men had like a high contrast white and brown stripe, right? And with variations of design. Whereas the women had more tonal stripes. It was gray and browns, or it was a mix of the brown colors to hide them more. It made them harder to see as they were walking amongst the landscape.
Wow. In terms of the emotional dimensions of the neutrals, I can touch on gray. That's the color of illness in the auric field. So if you've got gray spots or splotches in your aura, it indicates illness. Charcoal gray indicates despair.
Bummer.
In an auric field. Dark brown in an aura indicates cruelty and pettiness, right? And then, of course, wearing earth brown and is indicative of simplicity and humility. Again, I'm thinking of St. Francis. And, of course, wearing lighter neutrals are safe to wear in the sense that, I just think about like the modern office uniform. What is it? It's khakis. And a neutral button down. That's just playing it safe. It's not going to disturb your auric field too much. It's not going to, affect your mood too. It's just safety is how, our relationship, I think, with these neutrals has evolved in terms of wearing them.
Well, brown is a practical color, right? It's dependable. It's trustworthy. It's loyal. It has a level of structure. Again, like we built our first houses out of the ground of mud brick, so it has a inherent kind of structural aspect to it and a protection aspect where it supports the family unit. It has a sense of duty and responsibility. It's also the color of like material security and accumulation of material possessions. It's associated with wholesomeness and organic elements, right? So we associate like organic and natural products and
Sugar in the raw.
totally, yes. And the whole packaging around that is brown, right? Because it symbolizes organicness.
Right. So in terms of using neutrals in our design and in our, all the grays and beiges and browns, I mean, like, where do you point people because it's safe, it's easy. It's the same thing as wearing khakis in some sense.
Well, it is and it isn't. So you have to be careful and it depends on which neutral you're talking about.
That's right.
Are you talking about warm neutrals? Are we in the tan family? Or are we in the cool neutrals in the gray families, right? So, living rooms are great for the warm families because we like to feel warm and cozy when we gather in groups. So light beiges and the ivory families are great for living rooms. They're great as kind of a neutral color in hallways and places that need, a lot of coverage, but need to be gentle on the eye. You can bounce a lot of other colors off of both warm and cool neutral families. I mean, the cool family, i.e. the gray aspect of neutrals, is meant, we read it as kind of a blank slate.
Right.
right? Where the warm family is, we think kind of more cozy. The gray family is blankness, also associated with timelessness. This is why the whole gray exploded in interior design, because you didn't have to repaint your walls all the time. It actually flip-flopped. So in the kind of 80s and 90s, the warm neutrals were everywhere. And then it flip-flopped to like, oh no, that's dated, right? That's associated with like poverty now, right? Like it became kind of out of fashion, right? So it flip-flopped to the grays, which was like closer to that sophisticated black, right? So the gray family came of age, and you pair it with a crisp white, and now you've got this blank slate that has that hint of the black sophistication paired with the cleanliness of white. And then you can bounce other colors off of that. But really, it was meant as kind of a blank slate that you didn't have to constantly be repainting your house.
Right. And I love gray and crisp white. I think they're so pretty together. I usually shy away from too many neutrals. It's not my vibe. I'm way more into color, but I do like that gray and white phenomenon, or the right brown and white.
You just have to be careful with it. So, with I'm going to go back to our directions of color again. With north-facing rooms, and east-facing rooms, in that morning light, you have a gray-blue cast to that light. So if you are choosing a gray in a north or east-facing room, just add a little warmth in there. You can go for the gray family in north or east-facing rooms. Otherwise, your gray might end up being blue. And vice versa with the warmer neutrals in south or west facing rooms, pull it back a little. Go for that kind of a little more like gray taupe color, so that you don't end up with like a yellowy brown or even pink room.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? Because it can go pink. So just be careful with the direction of your light when you're choosing your neutrals, and make sure am I choosing a cool neutral or am I choosing a warm neutral?
Right. In terms of feng shui, I'll just say, really the neutrals, but really more brown. That's going to really be the earth element. And the earth element is, you'll use these colors to buoy the earth element in certain sectors of the home. Certainly the love and relationships sector of the home, the back right corner, earth is the element. And so, earth element, but also, the colors of earth are helpful to use there, as well as pops of color for passion, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, but really earth. And then the center of the home, that is also earth element and health and well-being. A lot of times yellows and oranges will also be used there because they're very earthy as well. Certainly the browns. Brown can also be used to buoy wood element because, wood is brown. So if you have a lot of brown furniture, you're inherently bringing in a lot of wood element, like literally wood element. But also with the color, you're bringing in earth element as well. So, earth is an important body's earth.
Well, and, clay.
Right.
Right. And you think of Greeks and Romans really kind of perfected the amphora. Mm-hmm. And they used a lot of sienna, red-based clays as decorative aspects in their pottery.
Right.
Which is cross-cultural. All early civilizations had earthenware.
Figured out pottery.
Yes.
Yeah, which is quite a feat, right? Earthenware, exactly. So I don't have a lot to say more about feng shui and browns. I mean, grays, I could say, that's a way to also get metal element in.
Silver.
Silver is a stone's throw from gray. And so, that's an easy way to get metal element in if you need to balance the 5 elements. Which of course are wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. And these are the Chinese 5 elements. They don't have air. That's one of the ones they don't. That's just a given. But their 5 elements, of course, are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So it's those 5.
Huh.
That you're always trying to sort of have in different combinations depending on what part of the house and what direction you're facing and all of that. So in terms of planetary astrology and the neutrals, browns, I don't have much for you here. But I'll make a link, and it's this. There's not a brown planet. I mean, I guess all the planets, I guess, are sort of brown. Brown is Earth. Okay, so we could say, the planetary astrology of brown is just Earth. That's pretty simple. But I also sort of wanted to point to, that our Earth is the place where, a lot of our plant medicines come from. And I'm specifically thinking about, entheogenic and psychoactive and psychedelic substances. A lot of them can come from, these different roots, these different plants that then propel us and send us into interplanetary directions, depending on sort of what you're dealing with. So it's a little loose association there, but that's the only planetary I can forget here is that you can use some of these plant medicines to propel yourself into deep outer space somewhere. But I don't have a brown yantra. I don't have, anything to correlate it back to a day of the week or anything like that. Okay, in terms of neutrals and the embodied goddess. Okay, I have 4.
I have 3.
Okay, well, I'll start.
Okay, you start.
So my first one is Artemis.
Oh,
okay. Greek virgin goddess of the hunt, associated with deer and with bows and arrows. So for those reasons, I'm like, okay, the forest, brown, neutrals. Okay, what have you got?
So, the goddesses don't particularly mess around with browns a lot because they like those clear colors.
Bam.
Right. But I'm taking more of the golden aspect of the gold aspect of brown here. So Athena embodies gold. She's goddess of war, wisdom, negotiation, crafts, dyeing. And so she textile dyeing. So I'm giving her a golden neutral.
Okay. I've got Diana, Roman goddess of witches, a huntress, a virgin of the woodlands, wild and undomesticated. Okay, so I put her with, in the woodlands.
Right. I have Bast, goddess of the rising sun, sensual pleasure. Do we have a match?
Well, we did back in one of the other colors.
Sensual pleasure, music, and dance. She is an embodiment of female independence, and her stones are cat's eye and sunstone.
She's the mama of cats.
I mean, that's a pretty good gig.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I've got Demeter.
Oh, we have a match.
I wondered. Greek goddess of the harvest, mother of agriculture, often depicted with a cornucopia.
Absolutely. Mother Earth.
Would
that be, would Pachamama be?
I had Pachamama and Gaia back in Greek, but sure. Of course, Earth. Yeah. Okay. Do you have another one?
No.
Okay. My last one is Lady of Beasts. Animal goddess of the Middle East. She's often depicted pregnant with a bunch of other pregnant, kind of farm animals around her.
Yeah.
Pregnant cows and a pregnant bear. And so Lady of Beasts for those reasons. Okay, what else do we want to say about the neutrals?
Where does neutral pop up for you? Are you a khaki person? Do you wear a lot of browns? We're coming into autumn right now, so are you transitioning more to the gray brown aspect of your wardrobe?
Ironically, when this airs, it'll be early February.
Are you coming out of wearing browns and you're Are you tired of wearing browns and grays in the winter and autumn aspect, and now you're ready for spring colors? Do you paint your house in a light ivory or a tan color? Do you accent it? Do you have a lot of wood? Do you have a lot of wood colors in your home? Are you a cool gray neutral, or are you a warm tan neutral? Where do the neutral families sit in your life?
Or are you just like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to pick grayish?
Right. Be careful.
A lot of people do that. I see that a lot with folks.
But again, just like there's a 100 whites, there's 100 grays. So again, make note of where your light comes from, the direction of your light.
Right. And don't live like you're in a corporate office environment.
Throw some color on it. Neutrals are meant to be paired with with accent color.
Pops of color. Amen. All right. You're listening to the Living Mandala podcast.